thought the speech itself was terrific. I thought one of the things that was great about it is he emphasized that Boston is two cities theme that we heard a lot during the race, where he said it wasn't just Beacon Hill, but it was Cobb's Hill, it was Fort Hill, every other hill in the city of Boston. So that was emphasizing that he really wants to do something about this divide between the very wealthy part of Boston and the tough parts of Boston. And he also talked about day one, attacking the violence in the city, and how moms should not have to be burying their kids and women shouldn't be afraid on the street. So I thought that showed a lot of, carrying on what he talked about in the campaign, that he really means it when he says he's going to try to bridge that divide in the city. So I think that's really exciting.
I'd made a list of some of the things that that I liked about Marty's speech. He didn't blame George Bush. He only mentioned the word investments once, but of course it was in terms of job creation. How come everybody wants to get a job in the job creation department rather than the actual job where you have to go to work? But that's neither here nor there. He didn't mention Tale of Two Cities, as if he's come up with some brilliant insight that there's always been poverty and affluence side by side in major metropolitan areas. But it was kind of pedestrian, but it could have been a lot worse. Just look at Elizabeth Warren talking about my fellow Bostonians. What about my fellow Native Americans, Granny? Your fellow Bostonians? I guarantee you could drop her off in any street in the city of Boston, anywhere, and she couldn't find her way back to Cambridge.
20 years is a very, very long time for one guy to run the city, so I think it's a pretty exciting time for Boston. The other big thing in Boston is the schools. John Connolly, he beat John Connolly, but John Connolly was the school guy. Let's see what Marty Walsh is going to do for the Boston schools, because it would change everything in Boston. People that move out wouldn't be moving out anymore. Kids that are having a really tough time in some of the tougher schools that don't have enough books, don't have enough teachers, don't have enough good supplies. We could turn Boston around with better schools. So I'm hoping that he's really going to revolutionize the Boston schools.
The only thing that concerns me is that he doesn't have a lot of experience making decisions. As I said in my column today, he's a leadership rep. He was chairman of the ethics committee at the State House. You don't get to be chairman of the ethics committee at the State House because you rock a lot of boats. You get to be chairman of the ethics committee because you don't rock boats, because you know how to say yes sir, and when the speaker says jump, you say how high.
I think he's the first mayor we've ever had who's a recovery guy. This is a guy who's been saying the Serenity Prayer for 20 years, who talks about one day at a time, one of the mottos of AA. He talked about that several times in his speech, one day at a time. That tends to give you a certain wisdom and a certain calmness, and you're slow to anger. And I think that if he can bring some of those lessons, the good lessons you learn in recovery, to run in the city of Boston, I think that would be a wonderful thing.